Lucca Schittone. Did I do that right?
Yes, sir.
Schittone.
Nice to finally be in person again.
Very nice to have you here after Shane and Tim's real estate meetup.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was fun. I kept mentioning Deepak, and I'm like, oh shit, that's right, Deepak was there. He landed in Atlanta, and I was like, look, bro, I'm going to this real estate thing tonight. You're probably not going to have like any desire to go to this, but like you're welcome to. He's like, fuck it, I'll just go hang out. I was like, all right, sweet, we'll go.
How long was he in town for?
4 days.
Oh, so he was just here to visit?
He literally just hit me up and he was like, yo, I want to go to Atlanta. Like, I want to get out of Miami. And I was like, you're welcome to come sleep on my couch. And
I mean,
like,
to come out of Miami and go to Atlanta is quite the transition. I would think I'd rather stay in Miami, but.
I mean, I can see how you get fed up with it. Just like there's a lot of shady shit in Miami, a lot of shady people, and you probably just get burnt out. You're like, I want to go somewhere that's not here. And
I mean, every day's a party in Miami. Speaking of party, I've brought a very special drink. I'm sure you see 2 glasses here. This is from my Italian family. All right. Very near and dear to my heart. Brought some Pellegrino, guys.
Wow.
Would you like some?
What a marvelous.
You want to do the honors and open them up?
Sure.
My hands are
never before seen San Pellegrino.
It's a first.
There you go.
And you see we're dressed all classy today. Just so that was a special request from me.
I was about to say, you sat there and you were like, yeah, wear a suit, wear a suit, wear a suit. So I fucking went up to the neighborhood today rocking a suit, and then
yes.
Then I show up here and you're not in a suit.
I'm in what they call the Italian suit.
Is that Loro Piana? Say yes.
It is not Loro Piana.
Fake Italian.
I do have one piece of Loro Piana. It's the loafers, but.
What despicable act did you do to get your hands on Loro Piana loafers?
Spent too much for no reason.
Okay, that's fair. How much do Loro Piana loafers cost?
The summer walks are about $1,000.
$1,000.
$1,000 for loafers, but they're so worth it. It is the most comfortable shoe you will ever try on.
Those shoes better make me fucking fly.
They do.
$1,000.
They make you fly towards the women.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How many women have approached you because you have Loro Piana
0.
summer walk? Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. And also, if a girl walks up and knows what those are, that's a fucking red flag.
That's a green flag to me.
Dude,
if a girl knows her Old Money brands, I think that's a green flag.
Old Money's a fucking meme, dude.
What?
Yeah. Old Money, that whole trad thing. The number of girls that you see on Hinge that are like, oh, I want to be a trad wife. It's like, yeah, what the fuck are you saying? Like,
I don't know. I think it's all demographic based, isn't it?
It's all a meme.
If you go to Europe, though, that's what they all do. I mean, that's...
Everyone in Europe is Old Money?
I mean, most of them are.
Is that a joke? Bro,
no.
London, rather.
I mean, London is excluded.
Stop right there. England as a country has the GDP per capita of Mississippi. A lot of Old Money in Mississippi?
There's a few.
And they make their old money
Oxford,
off of,
Mississippi.
Lucca?
Oxford is also in England. So we got 2 Oxfords going on.
I'd rather chew on the business end of my Glock and tickle the trigger than go to either of those places.
Really?
And that's a fact. No, actually, I'd rather go to Oxford, Mississippi.
Really? Than Oxford, England?
Yeah, dude.
Really?
Can you imagine how pretentious and stuck up the people in Oxford, England are? I would probably rather jump off a bridge.
I'll tell you what, I had an amazing experience in Oxford. I went to Oxford University's business program for about 2 months for a summer thing.
Okay.
A little summer gig. I was the only American-born person there. I remember showing up there and they're like, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from the US. And they're like, what are you doing here? Everyone here is from Europe. Everyone's from Asia, Africa. I mean, from everywhere else but the US. And they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm here to learn business. And they're like, by the way, you're the only American here. And I was like, great. They're like, go to your room, come down for dinner. And then I just pretty much go up and pack my stuff. And I'm pretty much bawling, crying at that point. I was like 16. I was young. But that experience ended up fully changing the trajectory of my life in terms of like my career path. Somehow. But that's a story for another, but I can keep going. This one kid named Dennis knocks on my door. He's from Turkey. And then this other kid named Mustafa from Pakistan also comes along later in the day. We end up becoming best friends. A few kids from Italy as well. And I think one from Spain. We all became like best friends. So we hung out for like 2 weeks or whatever. And I ended up getting into real estate actually because there was a few guest speakers that came in. There was one guest speaker who came in who like blew my mind. This guy was like into like, it wasn't like really investing in real estate, but it was like a construction company that he ran, that he invested in construction for real estate and had this really cool like technology that like read the, what's the word for it? Like when big buildings are built, they have
like the
these
schematics, the blueprints.
Yeah. They have like the blueprints for it, but it can like read the trajectory. I don't know. It's a very cool technology that he built basically that goes underground. And I ended up getting the chance to interview him afterward for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And like right after the interview, I was like, Mom, Dad, I need to get into real estate. Like this is where the money's made. This is where I can make connections. And then right after that, me and all my friends from Oxford, we all started a marketing company at first. So that's where my background is from. But then we ended up getting into real estate not too further later down the line. And we got into international real estate as opposed to in the US. So we were just basically based in over 7 countries around the world. We did like a brokerage company where we would like refer investors to firms and get a cut, after the property was sold. But it's completely different to what I'm doing now, which is just like purely doing creative deals or wholesaling and that kind of stuff. So it's a completely different way of investing in real estate. But
what kind of marketing were you doing?
I did digital marketing. So
does that mean OnlyFans?
No, unfortunately
so
not.
You're an OnlyFans manager.
You know what? I didn't want to confess it. But that was exactly what I was doing. I'm kidding.
I was about to say, you're so full of shit. You do not have the personality to do that.
Oh gosh. Yeah. But basically it's kind of what Deepak does in a way. Like I just kind of do like organic, or paid marketing. We did it. It was called Consell Media. We did it for like 6 months. And we basically it was more like personal branding stuff. And that was really helpful because I got to see like how to build a diverse portfolio of like a marketing company and kind of expand internationally because my team was international. So we could go in all these different countries and try to dominate these industries and whatever, and learn about people, learn about their demographics, and then also market them. So that was very beneficial, and it carries into real estate a little bit, just like the personal brand side of things. And I'm sure because you post a lot, right?
Yeah.
Or you have someone to post for you. Mm-hmm. But it's Deepak, right?
Not Deepak himself, but like Deepak's
his team.
Company, yeah.
But I guess the importance of a personal brand, right? And building up your personal brand. I think in today's world, especially, everything's on social media, and you have people from all around the world. You have 8 billion people who are basically competing for a spot, whether it's real estate, whether it's healthcare, whatever. They're competing for a spot. The top spot, basically. Yeah. So how do you separate yourself from other people? It's through organic content that you can make and build your personal brand through, right? So, I mean, I guess in your experience, like what has been your biggest, achievement in terms of building up your personal brand? And
I mean, I'm working on Tim and I guess via Tim, Shane are working on a relatively large deal, commercial deal.
Oh yeah?
That would have never gotten that opportunity. I met Shane off TikTok, and so through that would be the largest thing I've ever done. But Joey is a guy that works with me. Met him off TikTok. Met the lender that I send people to off TikTok. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's gotten to a point. I mean, eventually I'll do some sort of info product around real estate. I just don't feel like I'm quite there yet. I have too much of a conscience to just like shill shit that I'm not like 100% certain will crush. But
yeah.
I'm doing some interesting shit with like a direct mailing company right now. And if that works, that'll be it. Like direct mail in real estate, because it's a massively underutilized method of getting clients.
So you're looking to build like partnerships in a way that would help like further excel your personal brand, right? Like you met Shane and all these guys who were helping just accelerate that a bit easier. I had no idea Shane even had TikTok.
He doesn't really post like a ton, but I mean, he literally saw one of my videos and commented, was like, "Do you want to sell my condo?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." I was like, "Where do you live?" And he told me the name of the building he lived in, and I lived in the same building. And I was like, "No shit."
Wow.
So me and him went, we got lunch, we sat down and talked. He started talking to me a little bit about the creative financing stuff. And I was like, okay, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, a year and a half or so.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're in real estate, especially as an agent, you kind of have to do it. The difference, I think, is that most people do it really, really in a stupid way.
Right.
Like sitting there and like making jokes about your clients, probably not the best way to portray yourself online. But if you can sit there and show a combination of like, one, I'm a real person, and two, I actually know what I'm doing, I used my TikTok videos and my follow-up like incessantly.
Right.
So most of my leads would come in through Facebook, Instagram, Realtor.com. That was the vast majority of my leads. They would come in, they would get plugged into a follow-up sequence. Well, if you come in off of a lead magnet designed for condos, I'm going to start pumping you videos that are just all about condo buying, loft buying, what to look out for. So you can establish credibility. You can establish that you know what the hell you're doing, as opposed to Joe Schmo who's like, it's a great time to buy, sell, or invest. And you just sound like a fucking clown. Like,
right, because you have to stand out in some way, right? Because now everyone and their mother is doing digital marketing, right?
And so I'll go to Lumpy Mail. Fuck them all.
Exactly. No, fuck them all. I mean, it's so true though, because even for me, I'm trying to figure out as a young entrepreneur, like, is it even worth my time to be spamming reels 20 times a day if it's just exactly what Joe Schmo down the road is doing, So what makes you different is the biggest part. And that also, I want to tie that back to like just how you dress. Like as crazy as it is, like the way you look, your first impression to people, like it means a lot. It's by far the biggest your way into a business or your way into a relationship is your first impression on people.
The number of people that don't understand that, and they sit there and they're like, well, in an ideal world, it should just be, they should understand who I am, like deep down. But it's like, dude, if you're walking through the gas station or walking through wherever and you've got pajamas on, like no one's going to take you seriously.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to look at you and go, that dude looks like a bum.
Yeah. And
if you go hit a girl up when you look like a bum, she's going to go, no. And she's going to turn and walk away because you look like a bum.
Right. It's so true. It carries on in life. And I feel like if you're not, I mean, this might sound cocky what I'm saying, but like if you're not the best dressed in the room, it's better to stay at home. Like that's the way.
So you should have stayed at home then, dude.
I should have. You know what? You're right. We got everyone's
no,
looking
bro.
good.
You dress incredibly well, especially you're what, 19?
19.
Yeah.
Just turned 19.
You know what you should do? Just throw the whole thing on its head and start wearing vineyard vines. Start dressing like a southern frat boy.
That's what every kid my age already does. So
yeah, exactly.
I would blend in perfectly.
Exactly. You could just be another one in the crowd where some, what was it? There was a brand that when I was in college, everyone wore it, had like the fucking duck on the back. I don't remember. Like Southern Marsh.
Southern Marsh. Exactly.
Yeah.
They have that. And then they also just have like the college store.
Yeah.
Like when you go to the university store, they just sell overpriced crap for $90 or whatever. Like the striped polos and all that. Oh my God, it's disgusting. I mean, I would never understand why you wouldn't want to upgrade your style, like in a serious matter.
Because this is like a common thought process for a lot of dudes. Is a lot of guys will sit there and they'll say you're gay because you want to dress well. It's like, why do you want to dress like that? Why do you dress differently than I do? You must be gay. And you're like, if dressing well and getting more attention from, women, more, I don't want to say importance, but you get a higher amount of respect when you walk into a room and you present yourself a certain way. Okay, if I get more respect and more girls are interested in me. Okay, if that's your definition of gay.
Yeah, exactly.
Guilty.
Yeah,
you got
I'm
me.
guilty. Take me to court.
It's the same. Yeah, but those are also the same dudes that'll go online and cry about like how terrible dating is and how no one treats them right and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, take yourself seriously, dude.
It also depends who you're trying to like attract. Like if you're like the way that we dress in a sense is that, we're appealing more to the older audience and we want to look professional in front of an older audience, in front of the 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds. Like that's more so what people like us dress like. If we're talking like 18 years old, people who dress in vineyard vines, they're not trying to appeal to people who are in their 40s or 50s. Like that's just kind of the way it is.
That's how I'm dressed right now.
No, it's not.
Cut me on demon time and I will dress a very different way.
You see, that's exactly why I told this man to show up classy.
You just curate your appearance.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's all it is. You got to curate your appearance. Okay, if I want to come across one certain way to potential clients or whatever at a meetup, okay, I'll dress this way.
So you've morphed yourself into this.
Yeah, dude, I'll change how I dress depending on what I'm not going to wear this to a dive bar. Like you're insane. Go to some grungy
that's
dive
a bit
bar.
Different. That's a bit different.
Smoke a drunken cigarette. Like I'm probably not going to do it like this unless I want to look like a Japanese businessman that's on the way back from a 18-hour workday.
Oh God.
Then I'll probably dress like this and go smoke a drunken cigarette. But
here you go, man. Time and place.
Yeah, that's something you wouldn't know anything about. That's one of life's finer events. A nice drunken cigarette.
Yeah. Never had one before.
You don't drink.
I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't.
Because you're a fake Italian.
Fake Italian.
If you're a real Italian, that would be a bottle of red wine. It would be halfway gone.
It would be a cigar.
Be halfway gone. You would have already drank all that bottle of wine, and then you would be smoking a cigar right now.
I would be. But we're saving that date. We're saving the date for another time.
Are you going to drink when you're 21?
Yeah.
Yeah? Oh, so you're just like following the law.
Mm-hmm.
Why you do that? And that's a serious question. I know it sounds like a joke.
I'm a man of my word.
You're a man of your word? Who did you give your word to? You weren't going to drink till you were 21.
That's a good question. But I've had some family experience. I've had some family experiences that led me to do it.
That's fine.
Not do it. But I have no problem being around it. Like there's no problem at all. But for me, it's just like a discipline thing. Okay. Like I've been fully disciplined to the point where like I don't feel like I need it, you know? So, I mean, could I have it? Yeah. Would it hurt? No. I mean, there's no reason I shouldn't have it. But on the other side of things, like the discipline part of it has enabled me to be a better version of myself and not kind of give in to things that I don't need. So that's kind of been my story. But
I have a demon and an angel on each shoulder, and the angel is sitting there like, that's so admirable. Like, that's really good. I'm really like, that's awesome. Like, that's badass. And the demon is like, you should fucking do it. Like,
I got the same way. I got one on each shoulder too, and they're saying the exact same thing.
Yeah. I don't think I can sit there and encourage that though, because that would be me encouraging someone to underage drink. So
don't do it. Don't do it.
That would be very bad. I would know nothing about that. And that's the end of that. But no, the drinking thing's interesting. I don't know how it is in Italy, but here at least it's most of the people that I know. This is a funny anecdote to that point. There was a group of people that I was with. One of them was a Dutch guy, and we were in a bar in Miami. He doesn't drink. We go to the bar. He looks at the bartender and he goes, "Hey, can I just get a non-alcoholic beer?" Mm-hmm. The bartender, without skipping a beat, looks at him and is like, "Closest thing I got's a Miller Lite," and just keeps on going. My Dutch friend looks at me and he was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "That's a beer." And he was like, "Is it like a 1% beer?" And I was like, "No, that's like 4%. He was like, "Oh, okay. Like, why did he recommend that to me?" And I was like, "Good question." I've had multiple bartenders that have made some joke like, "I don't understand why people don't drink." I'm like, "Bro, you understand that like some people, this shit ruins their life and they have to like stop doing it."
From what I know, besides like the Germans, I know for a fact the Italians especially, they don't drink beer.
Yeah.
It's not a thing. Like Italians are like fine wine or nothing. Mm-hmm. That's basically like you go to my grandparents' house, you go to my cousin's house in Italy. They have, and they're not rich. They don't really have money at all. Like a lot of them are from, I'm not sure if you know, but my mom was born in Rome. My dad's side's from Sicily, which is like down south.
Where the mob's from.
Yeah, basically. But literally, they're just known for like wine and fish. So their whole house is just full of like, they got these frozen fish they got fish in the freezer, and they got wine on the walls, and they have a whole wine cellar. That's like half the house. They love it. They love it. It's their thing. I can't complain. I mean, they pop a bottle of wine every night. And
do they drink liquor? Is it just straight wine?
I think it's just straight wine from what I know.
I was going to say, I had never thought about that, but I was like, I wonder if they do drink any sort of liquor. I mean, they have like a liqueur, like limoncello is a liqueur technically. No?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit of but it's not really considered like, they don't call it liquor. They just call it like
it's just limoncello.
This is exactly. Yeah, it's just a word for it. But I know Germans love their beer.
Yeah, Germans, Austrians, British.
Mm-hmm.
I think the British just love anything they can drink that will get them fucked up to forget the fact that they're on a shitty island with shitty weather and shitty people.
You know what? I actually enjoyed London when I was there.
You're like the first person I've ever heard that said that.
Well, okay.
That wasn't a white girl that like romanticizes it.
I follow soccer a lot.
You mean football?
Football over there. Well, so you actually use the correct word.
I was obsessed with football for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite team?
I don't follow it anymore.
Oh, you don't follow anymore? Okay.
I like Borussia Dortmund a bunch because back when I was like following it, they had Royce, Mario Götze, Ter Stegen, I think was their goalkeeper. No.
Yeah. They had Lewandowski back then.
Not that far back.
Oh, so a bit.
Lewandowski had already left and gone to Bayern.
Yeah. You know they're in the Champions League final. Dortmund is somehow.
Really?
Yeah.
Who are they playing?
Real Madrid. That's my club.
Dude, you're a fucking bandwagon.
No, I'm not.
You're an American that is a fan of Real Madrid.
I'm a Manchester United fan and a Real Madrid fan.
What connection do you have to either of those clubs?
Well, when I was 6 years old, I went to the Manchester United youth camp.
Okay.
In Manchester at Old Trafford, where I met all the players.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
And then I fell in love with Real Madrid around the same time. Just because Manchester United and Real Madrid like share some transfers. They got the same.
Yeah.
Like some players like are basically
Ronaldo.
passed out. Yeah, exactly. Once Ronaldo went to Real Madrid from United, I was like, all right, I'm a Madrid fan.
Did you play soccer?
Yeah, growing up my entire life.
When did you stop?
I stopped after high school.
Okay.
But Yeah, I played for all 4 years, and then played club as well in the fall. But that was like the greatest thing. Soccer was like my way out of everything. It was a great time just to growing up, especially like meeting new friends and people from different demographics around the world. And it's great. Like, but yeah.
Where'd you go to high school again?
I went to Holy Innocents.
That's right.
You know what that is?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. Sandy Springs.
Oh, look at you.
I'm from Atlanta.
Yeah.
I played.
Well, we were like a smaller school. That's why.
I went to fellowship.
Oh, well, we
all are even bigger than we
were.
We
kicked your ass in soccer.
I wouldn't know. You're 19 and I'm 27. I had graduated 2 times. No, soccer? No.
Yeah. What'd you play? You played any sports in high school?
Baseball.
Played
baseball.
They were good at baseball, no?
No, I was there.
Not when you were there?
No.
They were bad?
When I transferred there, they were really good. In like 7th or 8th grade, their high school team was really, really good. And then by the time I was a junior, senior in high school, I think. Is that my phone? I'm going to turn this thing on. Do not disturb. Sorry about that. By the time I was a junior in high school, it was like we never made the playoffs, I don't think.
Really?
No, we were not.
You guys were, remember what division you were in? Like 1A?
1A.
That's what we were in. Okay. We got pushed up from 1A to 4A randomly.
Big jump.
Yeah. So we started playing bigger schools. But that was actually my best year that we had there, because in 1A, do you know the school AIS?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were in 1A at the time and they just dominated 1A.
Of course they did.
So they had all the Europeans and South Americans and whatever. So,
dude, I wish one of the biggest things I regret, which I say that like I have any control over. I wish I would have gone to AIS. Like if I was
going to go too.
I wish my parents would have put me in AIS.
The coach wanted me there. Like I remember meeting the coach before, and he's like, soccer coach, and he's like, if you come here, we're a strict soccer school. I was like, perfect. And then I ended up not going there.
Yeah.
And I went to an Episcopal school instead, and I'm not even Episcopalian or Catholic.
I was about to say you're like half Catholic, half Jewish, right?
Well, I got bar mitzvah, so I consider myself like 100% Jewish.
Okay.
But mom is Jewish, dad is Catholic, which is very rare because my mom is from Rome, and there's not many Jewish people from Rome.
Yeah, there was something that happened back in the 1940s that has something to do with that,
right,
I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, there was this dude that was in charge of Italy. He had some weird last name that started with an M, and he wasn't too big of a fan of him for some reason.
Yeah, that was one of those guys.
Yeah. What a fucking time.
Yeah, that was pretty rare. But I got bar mitzvah at 13.
Is that the age you get bar mitzvah?
Mm-hmm. Huh. You thought it was older or younger?
I don't know. For some reason, I think in my head I confused it with a quinceañera.
That's like when
I was thinking it was 15. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I was like, wait a second, bar mitzvah's 13. So when you get a bar mitzvah, you have to memorize like a whole bunch of verses of the Torah? Or no?
I did not. So basically,
bro, you're not even. Oh my God.
Hold up. So I did the half bar mitzvah, which meant I was in a group of like 15 people. I went once a week every Sunday to go learn. Basically sat on my phone the entire time. Sorry, mom. So I didn't really learn anything, really. I mean, I tried to learn the Hebrew language, but it's impossible. The Hebrew language is not an easy language to learn. It's like just a bunch of symbols and stuff. It's not easy.
You know what I think you should do to make up for that? You should go fight in the IDF.
I don't think I should.
You should go fight in Gaza.
You know what? I think
you should go clear.
I'll pass on that.
Clear houses door to door in Gaza to make up for the fact that you faked your bar mitzvah.
It wasn't really a fake though, because I did it at a temple. It was the traditional, or no, it was not the traditional way of doing it. But my brother actually did the traditional way, where he had to like go up there by himself with the rabbi, and like they go back and forth saying like prayers and different types of things, but. Basically, when you get bar mitzvah, you have to do like a community service project.
Okay.
So I just like did like a DNA test thing where like I got DNA tested and then I like helped other people get their DNA test or something like that. It's weird, but
interesting.
It helped. And then I helped out like the food pantry or whatever. But that's like the community service part of it. So I did that.
Okay.
That was the one check off. And then after you have a fun party.
Yeah, and you just get given a whole bunch of shit, right? Like
they just give you like, some gifts.
Like the craziest birthday party ever.
Basically, it's in this. Well, I had it at my house actually.
Okay.
But we had a big backyard that we just basically had like a massive tent, and we just held people in there, a little dance floor action.
That works. Judaism's interesting. I wrote a paper when I was in college where I had to like go interview a rabbi.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was like sitting there asking him, and it's so funny because most religions you'll be like, "Oh, why should I join?" And then they give you like their sales pitch.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, this is pathetic. I went and I asked this rabbi, I was like, what would you say if I told you I wanted to convert to Judaism, and he was like, I would tell you not to. And I was like,
what?
And he was like, because if you're asking me, you're not convinced. And he was like, if you want to convert, you need to be like
God has to send it down.
Basically, it was like, you need to have had your moment with God, and you need to be convicted, and you don't need to be looking for outside influence, because it's like this undertaking. Like, you actually have to learn all this shit if you want to convert, versus like most bastardized Western churches will sit there and are like, oh, come on in, just pay your tithe and we'll sing some rock music. And like,
exactly.
I don't think this is the way that.
But you can convert to Christianity pretty quickly now.
Bro, you could convert to Christianity like that. Just go to a non-denominational church and they'll dunk you in water in front of everyone and say how great it is. I mean, it's like it doesn't take any real. I mean, speaking generally, it takes no real conviction. It takes no real effort to be converted.
So it's a quick process. They don't really require much.
A lot of it is, yeah, or at least a lot of the churches now, because you have so many mega churches where it's like they're looking for success stories. I also have a very jaded view of Christianity because I went to a tiny Christian school where there was a lot of hypocrisy and some less than intellectual people that were like dictating what was taught, and you would sit there and you're like, this is so stupid.
Yeah, we know we had one of those. We had like a did you have like the religion class? Is that what you had? Okay, yeah, we had one of those too.
I got told I was a bad person in one of my religion classes because there was some moment in one of the classes where they were like, okay, if there was a wanted murderer in your backyard, you're in the home with your wife and children, would you shoot them? And I went, yes. And it was like,
the answer no?
The response given was something to the effect of, well, you don't trust God would have taken care of you. And my response was, well, I trust that God gave me this AR-15. And if someone wants to kill me and my family and they've already killed before, like,
right,
I'll make sure that doesn't happen. And that was apparently not the correct answer.
So, but a part of the question was you have an AR-15, or was it not a part of the question?
Dude, that was like a decade ago. I don't remember the specifics. I just remember.
That's a key part of the question.
If it's me, I'm armed. I have. I'm not saying this. Never mind.
Don't say it on
no, but yeah, I am armed. Like, that is not going to be a portion of the question. Is like, I will have a gun, and if there is a wanted criminal, I will shoot them if they are going to threaten my family. Like, and if you don't want to get shot, don't go on shooting sprees. I don't know what to tell you. But no, I had a pretty jaded view of it overall, which. Part of the game. No, going to Christian school turned me like hardcore atheist for like 3 years after high school.
Really?
Like hardcore atheist. I was like, there is no God. There was this one particular kid in my fraternity that I would fuck with all the time. And this is like, in retrospect, this is so cringe. But like, I would sit there and just like fuck with him because he would always like attribute random things to God and like assign significance where I didn't feel like there was any. And I would just be like, there is no God. He would get super uncomfortable.
He was like a strict Christian?
No, and that's why I fucked with him. Because it was like one of again, another huge gripe I have with most Christians is they'll sit there and be super eager to tell everyone how Christian they are and how good they are as a Christian and all this stuff and why they need to convert. And you look at the way they're living and you go, remind me the part of the Bible that says it's okay to get hammered 4 days a week. Can you point that part of it out to me?
There's a lot of little things. And by the way, the Old Testament of the Bible is the Torah. Is the Torah. So technically, I'm not saying it's like the same thing as Christianity, Jewish, but like we share a lot of the same beliefs in a sense. So it's not like it's a big throw off if you're like, oh, you're Christian, you're Jewish. It's in a way the same thing in a sense.
Say that to a Christian.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to offend anyone because I know everyone has their own beliefs, but
who gives a fuck? Some mouth breather on the internet's going to be mad anyway, and they're going to be like, well, actually, and some Reddit dwelling dweeb.
Some mouth breather.
No, literally. But
oh gosh.
Yeah, the other thing about Christianity that never quite made sense to me is the Old Testament is supposedly like completely replaced because the New Testament and whatever. It's like, okay, then why do people still talk about the 10 Commandments?
Right. Exactly.
And it's I was thinking about this the other day. It's like when you look at religion, there's two forces of gravity in the situation. There is the religion, like the ideology, and then there are the people. And you are either the people are morphing themselves to become closer to the religion, or the religion is being morphed to become more like widely dispersed to the people. And that second one is what is like rampant in the West, where it's like, no, everyone can be a Christian and regardless of your lifestyle. I was like, no, I think it's probably better than just like overall for like the preserving of a religion that you have to morph yourself towards the ideology and you have to change yourself.
Yeah.
To become more like, the principles. But
yeah, I've never been like fully, I mean, I'm religious, but I haven't gone to temple in a while. I haven't experienced like the true, I guess, even considering I got bar mitzvah, I haven't really experienced like the true experience of being a Jewish man, like day to day.
Yeah.
So like I've been trying to incorporate that a little bit more, but I feel like I would need to, one, I've always wanted to like travel to Israel and like learn about the history and like immerse myself in the history. I think that's the best way to do it. Like you're kind of there with your people and then you experience it like out of firsthand, in a firsthand way. But I feel like for me, it's like I feel not disconnected, but you kind of feel like it's a bit far away from what exactly you want to, what's the word for it? Like that you want to grasp on. You want to, it's so hard to word it, but I feel like I really want to get closer to my religion, but that comes with a lot of like internal sacrifice that you have to learn and really immerse yourself in that. But, that's kind of my point of view on it, but
yeah, no, I mean, I think that's probably the way that it was intended is like,
right.
You convert and commit to a religion when you are ready to actually try and be the best version of yourself, like in meaning shifting yourself towards that religion, not looking to be able to tell everyone, well, I'm a Christian, so I can't do anything that's bad. And then going out and doing coke.
Right.
Like, hey man, maybe you're not the best spokesman, like not to be a downer, but
right.
That is interesting though. I mean, I've never met anyone that was Italian and Jewish.
Yeah.
That's like a real mind bend.
It's a real flex.
It's a real flex. I was going to say, you probably wouldn't fit in too well in Temple walking around with like a jacket like that.
I don't think I would. Actually, a lot of them do like to wear like the fancy colors.
The fancy colors.
Like the dramatic colors. You got guys in there wearing light blue. You got guys in there wearing maroon. I saw a guy in a yellow suit once.
A yellow suit in Temple.
A yellow suit in Temple, man.
That's a statement.
It is.
Probably not a well-received statement.
He wanted God to see him in his purest form.
That's an interesting way to go about it. Anyways. God.
Oh gosh.
Oh my. So anyways, your style, you are the love child of Iman Gadzhi and Charles Leclerc. So what you got into modeling in that whole world. When did that start? And what is that experience like?
It's been very interesting, actually. I got into modeling about 6 months ago, around there.
Oh, shit.
So
okay.
It's not like I've been in it for a while. I've always been interested in it. I've always been interested in fashion. Like I started upgrading my fashion game when I was like junior year of high school. Like I got into the whole old money style and that kind of stuff. But I never really wanted to be like a runway model or any of that kind of stuff. But the modeling that I was looking forward to doing was like the commercial modeling where it's like your brands are hitting you up and then you're kind of like working with them for like new shoots when it comes to like new clothing releases, or this new pair of shorts came out, this new pair of, dress pants came out, or this new suit came out. Like I was intrigued in that. And I'm like, I want to model because I want free clothes. Because usually they'll give you clothes afterward. But it's such a different experience from like what you think it is. Like you might think it's just, you're posing in front of a camera, whatever. There's so much behind the scenes work that gets done. Like you have a personal stylist, you have not one person behind the camera. You have 5 people in 5 different angles looking at you, examining your view. Like it's a strict business. Like it's ran like a business. It's not like it's, hey, let's do photography for fun. Let's like, they sit down for hours and they have like meetings and they talk about this shot works well. This one doesn't work well. This is how we do commercials. This is how we, post on social media. Like all these, this is how we function our website. Every brand does it in such a different way. And I've had the ability to like not work with a ton of brands yet, but kind of see from a firsthand view. Like I've had someone who they call them like a portfolio person or whatever, and they build your portfolio. So you sign with an agency. So I'm signed with a company called AMT, Atlanta Models and Talent. So basically what they do is they build a portfolio for you for brands to then come in and be like, okay, I see this guy. I like his style. I like his look. We're going to dress him up in the way that we think is best fit for us. And then we'll go from there. So you build a portfolio first and then they reach out to you on the back end. but it's such a long process. You think it's just, 2 hours or not 2 hours. You think it's like 30 minutes, snap, snap, snap. You're good. It's like, I was out there for 5.5 hours one day doing all these different poses, different shots. They're like, bring your whole wardrobe. And I'm like, I got a big wardrobe. They're like, no, but we need 10 fits. I'm like, 10 fits. It's a lot of fits, but they want to see like how diverse you are. And obviously, like if you want to be like a runway model, that's a bit different, but that's like if you're a bit taller, like your height. Like your height is like perfect for that.
I'm not built to be a model.
Who knows, man? It could be in your future.
I've had one person ever ask me if I was a model, and it happened literally yesterday.
What?
No, 2 days ago. Today's Wednesday.
Tell me about that story. What happened?
No, it was at Dollar Tree. So let's
Dollar Tree.
On that. No, I was at Dollar Tree because I was printing off a bunch of reviews that we have for this construction company that I'm working with for the neighborhood. And so I was framing them all in just like the cheapest frames I could get. So I was like, all right, I'll go to Dollar Tree. On the way, checking out of Dollar Tree, the guy that was ringing me up was like, oh, so you're a model. And I was like, what? I was like,
out of the blue?
Dude, literally out of the blue. And I was like, that's the first time that's ever happened to me ever because I don't look like a model.
You know what?
I don't think girls, like, no girl has ever looked at me and was like, he's like a pretty looking dude. Like, I don't give off that at all. Like, that's not my.
You don't think?
No, I'm like a much more, I don't know. I described it like I'm a particular girl's like type.
Particular girl's type.
Yeah, like if a girl wants to be with someone where she's like, he has like more Neanderthal in him than average, like, you know, in that
maybe
case.
that was God's calling to you.
Probably not. Like
the Dollar Tree cashier, I think he was like, you know what?
The Lord works in mysterious ways.
That's what I'm saying.
But no, dude, those shoots are nuts. I dated a girl like briefly that was a personal stylist. Like she would put all the fits together. Did not realize how complicated that is. Like that is a whole ordeal to like sit there and like she would have like a model cancel and like freak out. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that this girl canceled on me. Like now I have to find a girl. And it was like, it's the whole like fit. They're all curated to a specific body type. Right. So you can't just be like, oh, well, this girl has like she wears a 0. This other girl wears a 0. We're good. It's like, well, what if the sleeves don't fit? What if the shoulders are too broad? What if the shoulders are too narrow? Like all this shit.
They want your weight and your height down to like a specific number. It like, they're like, I need you to be 162 pounds. I kid you not. Like you get people who like brands and they're hit you up and they're like, hey, for our clothes, for this size, at least, I need you to be 165. I need you to be, I mean, obviously you can't increase your height, but as long as you're.
Dude, sure you can break your legs. Like that surgery that's going around on the internet.
Exactly. Shrink a little bit. I need to grow a little bit actually. But
dude, you can get your legs broken. They'll make you taller. I'm being so serious.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It's like a femur lengthening surgery. I mean, you're insane if you do it, but they'll snap your femurs.
I don't think I'll. For how much taller would you get?
I don't know. Probably like 3-4 inches.
Really?
How tall are you?
I'm on a good day or a bad day.
Good day.
5'9".
Okay.
So you're saying I could be 6'1".
6 foot number. Start flirting with that 6 foot number.
Huh.
I mean, here's the thing is that you're going to look disproportional as hell.
Right.
Like your like you're going to look so bottom heavy because your legs are going to be so long.
And the recovery process is a long time.
Yeah, something about sitting in a wheelchair for however long, probably not ideal. But hey, motherfuckers will do crazy shit to change how they look. Dudes snap their legs, chicks get BBLs and drop dead from them. Like, I saw the most ridiculous BBL I've seen in my entire life in an elevator the other day at an apartment. And I was like, that's insane. Like, walked in, I was like, I don't understand. Don't understand the appeal of that at all.
Yeah, I don't get the whole hype around that. I feel like a lot of women are doing that nowadays too.
There's a particular type of lady that wants to do that.
Right.
And I want nothing to do with that particular type of lady.
I feel like it would be your type though. I don't know why.
You think I want a chick with a BBL?
I don't know. I'm getting the feeling, you know.
That's a shot across the bow. That's what that is. That was an act of war. No,
is that an insult?
Yeah. I want nothing to do with BBLs.
I apologize.
BBLs, fake lips, fake boobs. I'm good on all that.
Yeah. A lot of fake nowadays.
Very much so.
Fake personalities, fake internet sensations. You know, half of the half of influencers around the world fake their content. Half.
I'm shocked it's not higher.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too.
But I mean, what do you expect? It's if you sit there, and I've seen this firsthand, if you sit there and you're like well measured and you want to give both sides of the argument, that gets no traction. All the videos that I've had that have blown up have had some degree that have either made people say, I don't believe it, or have pissed people off. All the videos that I have that blow up are like, this is why I don't think bicyclists should get to vote. And then a bunch of people that bicycle are in all the comments like, fuck you, you piece of shit. You're everything that's wrong with the world. You think you deserve more rights because you drive a gas guzzling car. And I just go, yes, I do. I think you deserve less. And then they get mad. That I said, this is why bicyclists don't get a say in American democracy. And I had a bunch of Reddit bros like, well, technically America's a constitutional. And it's like, dude, shut up. Like, I know that, but we have a democratic process. And I said this shit to make you angry.
Right. And you got views out of it. You got views, you got clicks, you got clout.
Dude, like 200,000 views here, 100,000.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
200,000 views.
On a video that I said, I think it was like 3 different people that shouldn't get to vote. I think I said people that wear pajamas in public shouldn't get to vote. I said people that bicycle on the road shouldn't get to vote. And I said people that don't know how to travel, like in the TSA line.
Oh, yeah.
They shouldn't get to vote. Because what sparked that, or last time I was going to Amsterdam, actually, I was in the line the whole time you're getting up there. Have your passport out. Have your passport out. Have your passport out. Have your passport out. Get up there, lady right in front of me is like, I don't know where I put it. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, how stupid do you have to be ignoring people for that long? And then like now you're a nuisance to everyone else.
Exactly.
Self-awareness of a snail, dude.
Especially in Atlanta, because we have the worst airport in the world in terms of how packed it is. It is a joke.
You have to have pre-check if you live in Atlanta.
I have, what's it, Clear.
Yeah. Dude, here's the thing. Now Clear takes longer than pre-check.
Because everyone has it.
Yep.
You literally now, I think the general admission line, like the normal line, is now faster than the TSA pre-check or the Clear line.
Here's what you do. You get pre-check and then you sell your data to the government because they already have it and you get digital ID. And so digital ID, like pre-check is here, Clear is here. Digital ID gets their own little lane right in the middle where you just like skate right between the two groups. You walk up there, like the longest I've waited in the digital ID line is like 10 minutes. Like the longest. It's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah. Walk
so you
up
never
there.
miss a flight.
They scan your retina. Right there. People are like, well, I don't want them to have my data. Bad news, champ. The NSA has everything you've ever done already. Like, if you think you're saving yourself because you don't sign up for digital ID, you're an idiot.
Yeah. But I mean, they've stolen our data years ago. It's been a lost cause in a way.
Yeah. That's kind of nuts that, I don't know. I guess your entire generation. How old were you when you got a phone for the first time?
Ooh, 14?
Okay.
No, probably younger. Probably 13 or 12.
Was it an iPhone right away?
I used to have the iPod Touch.
Okay.
Which, is that even considered like a phone? Not really.
I mean, I know you can text on them or something like that, right?
Yeah. But I feel like I got my first phone. I feel like it was like the iPhone 6 or something, like one of the old ones when I was like 12 or 13 or something like that. But now kids are getting phones at like age 6.
Yeah. My sister held out. My niece got her first phone, I think, at like 10 or 11, I think.
You got to think, like, back then, social media wasn't like booming. No one cared.
Yeah.
Until like 2018, social media wasn't like big sensation.
When I was in middle school, it was not that big of a deal. But like now it's like
everyone's on their phone.
They all have Instagram. Like my nieces follow me on TikTok and like my nieces will comment on my TikToks and shit. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I'm glad I did not have TikTok when I was a kid. My brain would be fried, more fried than it already is.
Exactly. But you know, I'll say this. There's two sides of social media. Like there's a helpful side. Like if you're on the side where it's like, they call it like the brain rot side at this point, where it's like the same shit over and over. And it's just like your brain can't even comprehend like there's like a study that showed like, we're going to have 5 people in a room and they're going to scroll on social media for like 10 minutes or whatever. And like, they'll stop them at a certain point and be like, what was the last video you just watched? And they're like, I don't know. So they forget it that fast. Instead, the average retention time on a video, because this helps for marketing as well. Like the average retention time that it takes for someone to get hooked onto a video is 2 seconds.
Okay.
So if you don't react in 2 seconds to a video, you scroll.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Think about it. If you're scrolling that fast, think about how many videos you go through a day. It's crazy. So, but there's a good side and a bad side. Like I said, there's a side of TikTok, a side of YouTube, a side of Instagram that's actually like helpful. Like I follow guys like Pace Morby and those guys who like talk about a deal that they're going through. And I'm like, oh, okay. Now I understand how he does a deal. As opposed to like, this is this Fortnite, streamer who got 24 kills and like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So like there's 2 sides of social media and how it benefits you and how it hurts you. But yeah, I think you want to be on the more educational side, which
mine is right in the middle, and it's just the war in Ukraine. I just watch war like all day. Really? I'm like, oh, that dude just got his leg blown off by a suicide drone. Yeah, that's mine. No, mine's a mix. Mine's a mix. There's a bunch of the war. There's a bunch of real estate shit.
Mm-hmm.
What else is there? A bunch of chess videos. I have a shitload of chess videos.
Chess videos. I'm trying to get into chess. I'm not good at chess, but
I need to play on chess.com. Download chess.com right now. Play each other.
Let's play on the stream.
Dude, we'll play chess right now. I'll put it on that stream right there. I'll whoop your ass.
I'm so bad at chess, man.
Game on.
It's a joke. I can't even play.
Dude.
I'll beat you in checkers.
That's not a game.
It's a game.
No, it's not.
It's a game.
It's not a real game.
It's more impressive than chess. No, I'm kidding. It's not.
That's ridiculous thing to say. Yeah, put a chess grandmaster next to a checkers champion.
Yeah, exactly.
No, absolutely not. That's a preposterous recommendation. But what motherfucker.
How have we got to this point of the conversation?
Just brain rot is what it is. It's just my inability to focus. But do you think the TikTok shit, what would you say the percentages of people that use it in somewhat of a productive way versus the people that just brain rot on it?
Probably 10%.
I'd say
people use it productively.
Less.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I would probably agree.
I think what's more dangerous is there are people that convince themselves that what they are doing is productive. They're like, oh, I'm learning. And in reality, all they're doing is just being like an information whore. They're just like soaking in info and they're not doing anything with it. It's like you sit there and you're like, oh, well, in theory, I know how to do this and this. And that's what creates like those Reddit dudes that will sit there and will like lecture a dude that's in phenomenal shape about what he should be doing. And it's like, okay, if you're in such good shape or if you know so much, why aren't you in good shape?
Yeah.
It's just all theoretical knowledge. It's like in college. You said you went to college for a semester, right? You went to Indiana for a semester.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like a dude sitting there teaching business that's never run his own business. It's like, wait a second, if you're so good at this enough to where you can teach it, how come you've never done it?
Yeah, I think that is, and I was going to get to that too later in the podcast. Like that is the biggest issue in the education system today. Like I think education is the most beneficial thing someone could learn growing up, like the general idea of education. But I think that the way it's currently structured, where you have business professors who haven't ran a business in their entire life and they're teaching you how to run a business, that's not beneficial to somebody learning that. It doesn't help at all.
Our education system is fried from kindergarten up.
Right.
Our whole system was set up by, I can't remember the gentleman's name, this guy that went over to Prussia in the Industrial Revolution and saw how the Prussians were churning out factory workers.
It was Rockefeller. Rockefeller created the concept of education in the U.S. at least.
It might have been Rockefeller.
But it was based on the Prussian Empire because they needed, the Prussian Empire needed soldiers to be disciplined to fight in the war. And they basically did it through like, it's called a conditioning factory. And they would literally brain rot you to the point where you would learn exactly what you had to do on the battlefield and nothing else. So you, like, if you're a baby and you're being raised, you would only be raised to know to fight. You wouldn't be raised to know that you can start a business. You'd only be raised to know that you can fight in a war.
Fight in a war, work in a factory, shut up, follow direction. That's all
Rockefeller,
we need out of you.
There's a quote from Rockefeller, actually. Have you heard of the quote before where it goes, I want a nation of workers, not thinkers?
Sounds about right.
That's a quote that he said about the U.S. society, which is scary in a sense. But I'm not saying education system today is the exact same way that he structured it back then because it was a while ago. But I do think that the fact that you have unlicensed in a way business professors or whatever major you're in that haven't actually experienced the trials and tribulations of what they've ever gone through, and they're trying to teach it as if they have, I think that is something that I would never take part in, which is why I dropped out of university at the age of 19. Like that was a big reason why, because my business teacher didn't run a business. My real estate teacher, I asked him mid-class, I said, do you own any real estate? He said, I don't own any real estate. I've never owned real estate. So what's the point in teaching? You're teaching us how to invest in real estate. By the way, never mentioned the creative game. Only mentioned the 20% down finance over 30 years. You know, so they don't know the other side of the game, and yet they act like they do. That's the hardest part.
Yeah, you wind up with a system that's structured around academic achievement, and it sits there and it goes, oh, well, I have this degree and this certification and whatever, and it just turns into a bunch of like mental masturbation, basically.
Right.
Where it's like, oh, well, I know the theory behind all of these things. That's the same thing as like sitting at home watching an MMA fight and being like, well, I theoretically know how to strike better than that guy. It's like, yeah, you do, until that dude punches you in the mouth. And then you go, oh, I don't know shit. Okay, exactly. Very cool.
It's the same way. Think about, let's just take a quick scenario. Let's talk about people in business for a second. How many people do you think graduate with a business degree? Let's say this year. How many people this year do you think are going to graduate with a business degree in the class of 2024? Probably like, let's say let's call it like a couple million people in business in the US at least, because business is probably the most popular.
A few hundred thousand. Let's call
it a few hundred thousand. Let's say the Fortune 500 companies, right? Because a lot of them want to go to those companies. There's a very select amount of spots in those companies, right? Mm-hmm. What makes you stand out? If let's say in your university, because Indiana was a great business school, it was a top 6 business school. It beat Harvard in a lot of different aspects. It was crazy. I think it was better in like finance and better in a few other things. But if you were to get a business degree right out of college and you apply for a job, if that's all you have to your name is a piece of paper that's signed by the principal.
I don't think they call them principals at college.
Signed by, what is it called? I don't even know. The dean, signed by the dean. Is that, how much is it really going to help you? That's the question. Like, I mean, maybe it'll help in some aspects. Like, I think if you want to be a doctor, obviously you need to go to medical school. If you want to be a lawyer, you better pass the bar. Like, I believe in that. But I think in terms of business and a business degree, what exactly does that provide for you in terms of outside of college?
I mean, if you want to run a business, not a lot. If you want to work in a business, I mean, a finance degree, okay, you have you know how to calculate numbers, make sure that things make sense. I mean, I can see a finance application for like underwriting. Okay, cool. Obviously, I mean, I see the accounting side of it when you get into like that, like accounting law, that kind of thing. I get that. But in terms of like actually, if you have any aspiration of like running your own ship, I don't think there's a hell of a lot of applicability there, especially
Is there an entrepreneurship major? No.
Yeah, some schools have them.
There is?
Yeah. There was reason I know that there was an entrepreneur minor or something like that, I think, available at Auburn. And I know a dude that was getting a degree in entrepreneurship, like a minor. And one of his entrepreneurial teachers had never actually been an entrepreneur.
See, that's the problem. That's exactly what the problem is today, is that there is an entrepreneurship major that is not being taught by an entrepreneur. That is the biggest issue I see in schools today. It's disgusting, honestly.
It's super cliche, but you're better off just going out and getting your teeth kicked in.
I think so.
Just like going out and eating shit for a couple of years and you're like, oh, okay, I'll at least like learn more out of this. Yeah. I mean, I learned more. I dropped out of college, got a real estate license. Before I dropped out, I was like selling Facebook and Instagram advertising and trying to do a little bit of it. I learned more on the sales calls that I had where I got like blown out of the water about business than I did in any business class that I took.
Right. And like my life went from dropping out of college to meeting Shane to then being offered to go on that real estate challenge. Remember that?
Yeah.
The Tampa challenge. So I went with Colin, and those 7 days of being out there gave me more education than I've received, or more beneficial education than I've received throughout all my time in high school, all my time in middle school, all my 1 semester in college. That, because it was a firsthand thing. I saw a real estate investor go up to a home and get cussed out. Yeah. I understood that people can cuss you out. Okay. That's one lesson. I learned how the underwriting process. I learned how long it takes to get a deal. I learned all these things that you wouldn't learn sitting at a desk.
Yeah.
You're out there in the real world, talking to real world people, dealing with real world situations, buying an actual house, not a virtual house, not crypto. Like it's all these things that are like, it's real. Everything you're doing right now is real. And that's exactly what we've been, I guess, accepted into. This is now our life. So
yeah, it's all, I mean, a lot of it's just predicated on like the way that the US used to be. Like you could have a very, very nice life if you went out, got a college degree, worked at the same spot for 40 years, 30 years, like you could have a great life. And I just don't think it's that way anymore. Kind of funny. You mentioned crypto. There's an account on Twitter called Bowtied Bull. Are you familiar? It used to be called Wall Street Playboys. It was these dudes that were in finance on Wall Street, started their own companies, got out, and they were like, look, this is, they wrote a book called Efficiency, which is a really good book. Basically says, hey, look, if you want to acquire wealth and you're, starting at like 16, like here's the optimum way to do it. Like, this is how you should do it if you don't have like connections, whatever. Like, this is your best bet. They were talking about crypto, and they were like, the reason that the United States government will never catch up to crypto is because everyone that's good at crypto is in crypto and rich. And there's no reason for them to go work for the government. It's like, let me get this straight. I can get paid, completely separately from my time. There is no time attachment to making money in crypto. Mm-hmm. I would give that up when I'm making, call it $500,000 a year off crypto, just to pull numbers out. Right. Or I'll go make a salary of $200 a year to go work for the government and be told what I have to do, when I have to be there, and how I have to dress. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. When was that book written?
A while ago.
Like back when crypto was booming? Dude,
this is way before crypto. I think Efficiency probably came out like 2015.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So could you even walk in 2015?
Kind of.
Okay.
By the way, I'm going to take the trophy that I'm the youngest man on your podcast. I think
so far, yeah.
And the second youngest is Tim?
Second youngest is Tim. That's correct.
I got you, Tim.
You've beat Tim by a few years. Tim's what, 22, 23?
23, I believe.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know. I'm jealous of shit of y'all because y'all are doing phenomenally well and also are like into this shit at like such a young age. Like Tim was like trying to buy his first home when he was 16. Like, dude, the only thing I gave a shit about when I was 16 was throwing a baseball harder. Like,
I wasn't even into it really when I was 16. I mean, I was doing marketing, but it was like on the side. It was like a side hustle thing. But like, do you think starting younger is like a direct input to the output of success? Like when you're really starting young, like I'm talking starting at 16.
Yeah.
Like, is it really worth it in the outside? I personally think,
dude. Yeah. Because you have years of experience on people. Like, okay, if you start when you're 16, fast forward to when most people graduate college at 21. Mm-hmm. If someone doesn't start their business journey in any capacity until they graduate school because they're like, look, I'm going to go get a 4-year degree and then this is how everything's going to go. You've got 5 years of real world experience, which if you're doing anything, if you're iterating or putting any thought into what you're doing after the fuck ups you make, you're going to be light years ahead of people. Like I didn't even really get into like anything business wise until I was like, I started doing some drop shipping shit when I was in college when I was like 23. Mm-hmm. No, that's wrong. When I was 22, I had a weird college route.
Drop shipping in 22 was
5 years ago.
But that was when it was doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when dropshipping was like popular.
And it was popping. And I did a little bit of dropshipping then. And then from that was into Facebook and Instagram ads. And then from that, I interned for a home builder and was like, damn, these real estate agents are kind of lazy. Okay. And so I started doing real estate agent stuff with the ads. And it's like, if I look, okay, I have that 5 years of experience. Let's say I started at 22. Now I'm 27. Mm-hmm. If you take that same 5 years of experience, you already have the same experience as someone that's 27 at 21. Right. And now you have another 6 years of runway. And so it's like you'll lap motherfuckers. I mean, it's the same reason that you don't see professional athletes that started playing the sport when they were 16.
Right. They played when they were 4 or younger.
It's right? Like unless you are the 1% of the 1% of the 1%, if you start a sport at 16, you will never be a professional at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true.
No one picks up a baseball at 16 and then gets drafted at 21 unless you are the exception to the rule. Everyone else starts playing t-ball at 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
And then it's just a gradual weeding out process.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu used to be that way where you could start jiu-jitsu older because the sport wasn't as sophisticated. But now you've got kids getting their black belts when they're 17, 18 years old.
That's crazy.
If you start training at 18, you'll never be a fucking world champ.
Jesus. Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, speaking generally, you'll never be a fucking world champ because your neuroplasticity when you're young is so much higher. That's why like the people say the same thing about chess. You'll never be a grandmaster if you start past the age of 12, 13. Mm-hmm. It'll never happen because your brain doesn't have the ability to download all the info that it needs.
Because you haven't gone through like years of trials and tribulations before you actually hit that master status in a way.
Yeah. And it's literally your brain, the neuroplasticity of your brain slows down. It is harder for you to learn when you're older than when you're younger.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because your brain isn't fully developed, at least for males, when you're what, 21?
People throw the 25-year-old number around. They're like, oh, yeah, your prefrontal cortex, like at 25 or whatever the fuck, which most of the time that's just people making stupid ass excuses for stuff. It's like, oh, it's like some girl wanting to feel superior because she developed younger, which I mean, the number of people that are like girls develop, at a faster rate than men. And really, because I've seen plenty of chicks get blacked out at 18, just the same way I saw plenty of dudes when I was 18 blacked out. Like, it's just bullshit. But it's literally harder for you to learn as you get older.
Yeah. I honestly, going back to the like starting young, I think a lot of people nowadays, some of them want to start young. Like I have some friends who I've been talking to over the years and they're like, I want to start this business, but they've never gone into it. They've just quit early. Like they started it, they quit early. I think that's the biggest issue nowadays is people don't have the discipline to be like, okay, I failed once it's a part of success instead of being like, or you should be like that. And the other side of things is like, I failed once. This is just, it's over. Everything's over. But what no one understands is that you have to fail over and over and over again. And if you're a quitter, you're not going to make it no matter what. It doesn't matter. You can give a quitter a roadmap, a Ferrari, whatever, and tell them to travel to that destination. You can give them the exact destination, but they're going to quit along the way because they'll say it's too long of a drive.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I've seen, at least in people, especially people my age, is like they have the motivation to do it, but they cannot deal with quitting. Yeah.
I mean, that's just something. That's one of those things. I think it's really easy for people to be like, oh, well, I got that dog in me, whatever the fuck you want to say, where it's like, I think a lot of that is literally genetic. It's like, you're either born with a propensity to get over failure or you're not. Mm-hmm. The same way some people, it's really easy to get up and go to the gym in the morning, whereas some people it's impossible. Like they can't put the fork down. They can't go work out. But the only thing that's weird about people starting that young is you see, like, I've seen tweets like every now and then where it's like some 14 or 15-year-old kid like sitting there talking about stuff, and then it's like, look, I think there's a part of your development where like you need to have some ability to have conversations with people. And it's like, if you hit it big early, like that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that looks like developmentally down the line. I mean, obviously it would have been nice if I would have been fucking balling out of control at 20. Like that'd be sick.
Right.
So maybe that's just me being spiteful and angry that I wasn't crushing it when I was 20. But I mean, if you're fucking getting money like that at 16 or 17, which now you can because of the internet, like, fuck yeah, that's sick. Right.
But what if you fail at 16, 17, 18, 19, and then 20 you hit it big? That's still, you're so young at 20, right? Yeah. I think that's the head start you have, is like you start so early to the point where even when you hit it big, you're still so damn young.
You can get so many failures out of the way when everyone else is just too busy getting hammered.
Right, because what's everyone's biggest worry after college is like, I need to get a job. Right. If you can't find it, I saw there was this girl on TikTok or whatever, like posted something. She's like, I have 2 degrees. I have one here. I applied for this job. And the only job response that I've got was somebody who wants me to like answer calls for them all day or whatever, or do cold calls for them. And she's like, has the degrees really made a difference? And the answer in that space is no.
Dude, because degrees are commoditized now. A college degree used to be a symbol that you were intelligent enough to go on to higher education and to actually get a real legitimate education. Whereas now, anyone can go get a 4-year degree and say, oh, I have a bachelor's in whatever. Mm-hmm. And so it doesn't mean anything anymore to say I have a college degree. And then you look at MBAs. MBAs used to mean a lot. Like if you got an MBA 10, 15, 20 years ago, that was a big fucking deal. You had an MBA. Yeah. You were bright.
Yeah.
Now, I got a MBA online through North Dakota State University. Like,
doesn't mean jack shit after.
Dude, and literally people will sit there and dump $40,000 or $50,000 into an MBA, and it raises their base salary by like $3,000 a year. It's like, cool. Now you've got to work another decade, assuming you didn't take out loans to pay that MBA off. It's like, you can break this whole equation down into math. Okay, I'm going to spend X number of dollars on a college education. The average salary when I graduate with this degree is Y. Okay, say I take out loans at Z%. Like, you can sit down and reverse engineer it, but people just go, I need a 4-year degree. So they go get an English degree, and then they sit there and they're like, well, now I need a master's, and they get a master's, and then they get a PhD. And then it's like, now I can make $80,000 a year and I'm $300,000 in debt. It's like, that was a bad decision.
Yeah.
Like, that's not good.
Yeah. And a lot of jobs today are like performance based, right? So even if you have your Harvard grad, you have an MBA from Harvard, whatever it is, right? So on and so forth. You have all these things to your name. It doesn't matter if you can't do the job, if you can't perform on a daily basis, if you can't get the output that they're expecting of you, you're not going to get the job, or you're not going to stay there. They're going to kick you out. So there's no reason in stressing about the school part of things or being book smart when you're not street smart, because street smart nowadays, especially in business, is the most important piece of I guess yourself, whatever. I don't even know what the word for it, but I don't know. It's the biggest piece of yourself that you need.
Like climbing the corporate ladder type thing.
Right.
It was funny. I was at a Dan Kennedy conference. You know who Dan Kennedy is?
Oh my gosh.
He's like a direct response copywriter. He's like an old head.
Oh,
direct response copywriter. Yeah. I went to his conference, and he was sitting there talking about people that rise up through these big corporations. And he said something about people that are in charge of these. And he was like, the skill of like climbing a corporate ladder is a skill in and of itself. And oftentimes there are people that only have that skill that wind up running the ship. And so it's like you have someone that is over this company. The only skill set they have is how to office politic. And now that person's at the helm of the whole company. And it's like, well, now we're kind of fucked.
Right. Because you have to understand the wider scope of things. You haven't understood that part yet.
It's like you don't understand, like you don't have a finance background, so you can't look at your P&L statements and figure out what's going on. You can't look at a balance sheet. You don't know anything about accounting. You don't know anything about marketing. And so you wind up, you're at the helm of this whole thing and you don't have a clue of how any of it works. And so it is either going to be, you're going to be successful if the people under you are competent and good. And if they're not, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And you get to be the head on a platter because you're the CEO and you're the one that's over the whole operation.
That's why 99% of startups fail.
Start 100 startups.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is. But that's the biggest issue today is a lot of CEOs today. They don't have exactly what it takes to run a big company or to take a company to new heights. You know? I
think, yeah. Another thing about the startup is that everyone and their brother wants to be a founder, and people throw around the term founder. Like it's like, as a founder, well, I'm a founder. It's like, dude, I saw a TikTok where it was this lady talking about, oh, well, I'm a founder. And what my app does is it finds free time between your Google Calendar and their Google Calendar to set up meetings. And there was this dude that stitched it was like, congratulations, you just created the phone call.
It's not wrong.
I mean, you look at the way that whole world works. Everyone is so desperate for innovation. You wind up just reverting to old shit. I saw there was a tweet or an article that was written. It was like, container ships are considering attaching sails in order to make their travel more like green efficient. It's like breaking news in the year 2024. We've just created the sailboat. Yeah, like
it's true.
The most primitive shit ever, but it's this, someone will take it, package it up, go to a bunch of fucking venture capitalists. If it's successful, that founder won't get fuck all because they will rip that company apart, just pull all, they will own that thing. Motherfuckers will sell a company for $10 million, $20 million, $30 million and get like a couple $100,000, like maybe. Yeah. Like they'll take it to a bunch of VCs, get VC money, either defraud the VCs and the whole thing will go under and, you know, they don't give a shit, or it'll be successful. They won't make fuck all because the VCs will have siphoned all the money out. And like, woohoo, I'm a founder. Like, meanwhile, some dude doing the least sexy thing in the world is like lapping them in terms of cash flow. Like,
right. That's why I think it is the hardest era of humankind to run a business.
You think?
Because I think so personally, because there's not many ideas out there that are going to benefit the world. Like the iPhone transformed society forever, right? There's not many pieces, at least of technology or even in a business standpoint, like how could we better speed up this? How could we better speed up that? Like there's ideas here and there, but if you think off the top of your head right now, there's not many things that come to mind in terms of how could I transform society, take them from point A to point B, and it would literally take everybody from one perspective to another and allow them to think in a different way. It's very hard to get a lot of people now to sway their opinions. And social media has been the biggest part of that. But every business nowadays, they don't have, I guess, the purpose that the startups did back then, because a lot of them had, like, if you founded Apple, right? If Steve Jobs and all those guys, right? They had a purpose to better accelerate, the human communication system. Today, you don't really need, like, I can call you in 5 seconds. We can't help speed that up. Right? Like that's been perfected. We don't need to upgrade that anymore. And you see every new iPhone coming out just has a better camera.
If you don't want to be a billionaire, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you just want to be rich but you don't care about being a billionaire, it don't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And if you want to have a 300-foot super yacht, okay, yeah, you got to come up with some groundbreaking shit.
Yeah.
But also, I think for most people, trying to do that is stupid because let's be honest, most people don't have the mental horsepower to do that. 99.9% of people don't have the mental horsepower to run something like SpaceX. They just don't, or Tesla, or Apple, or Microsoft. They're just not smart enough, and that's okay. But you can go find some other shit, and you can do that and make a lot of fucking money and be happy.
Yeah.
But I agree. I mean, what is it? The technology doubles in capacity like every 18 or 24 months or something like that.
Is that what it is?
It's something ridiculous where it's like you look at how long it took us, like as a species, to go from like the printing press to whatever, pull your invention to the Industrial Revolution. Mm-hmm. And then you look at in the what year did the Wright brothers take flight? Like 1910, 1911?
Yeah, like 1913 or something.
It took us like 40 or 50 years from that to go to the fucking moon. If that happened.
Yeah.
If that happens. Then you take a look at that and it's like you go privatize space flight. I mean, it's the technology is just constantly accelerating. And so, by that definition, you do wind up with less and less and less shit you can do to really like make a breakthrough. Mm-hmm. But I mean, also, I have never once thought about like changing the world in that capacity because
neither have I.
I'm not that smart. Like I don't have the mental horsepower. Like, have you ever heard Elon Musk talk about SpaceX?
A few times.
Where he's talking about the rocket engineers, where he's sitting there and he's like, yeah, when I was starting SpaceX, no good rocket engineers wanted to come work for me. And you don't want to hire a bad rocket engineer because they blow up. They'll blow up. And he was like, so I just engineered the rockets myself. You could say you have 1,000 years to engineer a rocket. Here's all the resources you want.
I wouldn't do it.
By year 1,000, rocket ain't getting off the ground, dude. And it sure as hell, if it does get off the ground, it's not staying off the ground and in one piece for more than about 2 seconds.
That rocket blew up a lot of times, though.
Yeah.
Blew up plenty of times before it actually worked. But
and that's a genius doing it.
Yeah.
A legitimate genius.
But that goes back to the point of like failure. Because a rocket, you know how much money that costs? Like, that's not cheap.
A lot.
Yeah, definitely not cheap. So one fail is going to cost you billions of dollars.
Would you go to space?
I would.
If someone was like, here.
I wouldn't live in space. Like, they have like the whole Mars thing. I don't want to live in Mars. I think that's stupid.
You don't want to die on Mars?
I do not want to die. I know Elon wants to die on Mars, but
dude, that's a wild way to go. Dying on a foreign rock.
I know. And they want to, but the thing is, if you want to live on Mars, they have to like take they have to take water, they have to take natural, but they have to take natural things that already come from the Earth and bring it to Mars. How much in capacity do you have to bring from Earth to Mars to sustain life? How much water do you need to sustain life in Mars? If you can
terraform it and melt the ice cap, you don't have to take shit.
Sure.
I don't know. Who knows? That's not my problem. That's for people far smarter than me.
It's so complicated, man.
Yeah. Have you ever, what the Anunnaki are? You ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
It's the 12th planet.
12th planet.
Yeah. It's a theory by a dude named Zecharia Sitchin. I've been listening to a book on it. It's fucking fascinating. It's people that think that we're aliens, that humans are aliens.
Oh, and like there's some other society somewhere else that we don't know about, and they think that we're the...
Yeah. There's a bunch of... if you go back and look at like hieroglyphics and shit, there's a bunch of depictions of a 12th planet in the solar system, and it doesn't make any sense. And the people are called the Anunnaki.
Really?
Is the theory behind it. And that they basically came off and they're a foreign civilization and dropped us off here. There's a bunch of theories. You know who Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson are? Them and a guy named Robert Schoch have this theory about basically the massive floods that occur in every single like Abrahamic religion, even not non-Abrahamic religions, like in Hinduism, in the Bhagavad Gita, there's like stories about these massive floods. Mm-hmm. And it's the belief that there's some combination of an event that we don't know exactly what happened and a foreign entity basically are what created a lot of the ancient shit that goes on here on Earth. Like there's a dig site called Gobekli Tepe where they have these like multi-ton stones that are like engraved that are moved to within like centimeter precision of each other on all sides. And they're dated like 12,000 years ago, which like traditional historians are like, oh yeah, that we were all hunter-gatherers. It's like, well, what the fuck is that then if people were hunter-gatherers? But yeah, it all kind of ties in together. Like they think that the gods in a lot of the old, Roman, Greek, whatever, religions, the gods were people that were from another planet. Basically, they were like the enlightened ones, and that's why they were able to give direction and all that kind of shit to like build the pyramids.
That is so complicated.
It's sick.
That's crazy.
It's so much cooler than just like, yeah, humans evolved, which is so boring.
That is insane. Yeah. That's why I wouldn't excel in that industry because I have no idea.
You should listen to some of that shit, dude. It's fascinating.
I should, honestly. I'm curious about that stuff too. Like, I'm sure it's...
Don't talk about it at Temple. Probably would not go over very well.
Probably not.
Throw them through a loop, dude. But yeah, it's that shit's fascinating. No, there's a bunch of... They think that there's an ancient civilization or something to that effect. Mm-hmm. Because like the Sphinx, the head on the Sphinx does not match the body on the Sphinx. The head on the Sphinx has weathering from rainfall. a far different way than the body does. I mean, there's just all these different sites that people go into where they're like, none of this quite adds up. Like, these are older than we thought they were, whatever. And like mainstream archaeology. You listen to these people that are like the defenders of mainstream archaeology. You go, I'm an idiot. That argument doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's very.
I'm like, I'm dumb and you don't sound smart. So what does that make you? And I'm an idiot.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's sick, dude.
Yeah.
That's cool. You can listen to that and then just go on like rants about it on first dates. That's fun. That's a fun time.
What is it called again? The book?
The book is called The 12th Planet that I'm listening to, but the guy's name is Zachariah Sitchin, and he's got a number of books. Randall Carlson has one called Fingerprints of the Gods, which is really interesting. I think he's got one called like Life Before America or Before America, and it talks about some of the old dig sites here that they've gone into. Like, for example, there's a serpent mound in Ohio, I think, and it faces like it lines up with the solar, or what is it, the summer solstice. Like the serpent's head aligns perfectly with the summer solstice.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like this huge serpent. There's just a bunch of shit where you're like, this is a lot to be coincidental.
That's so weird.
And dude,
that's fascinating though. It's so
cool.
Fascinating.
It's some fun shit to say to people that really makes them angry. They're like, no, we know exactly what happened on Earth. No, we don't. We don't know shit. We don't know anything. But anywho, what was all the other shit we were talking about last night on the phone that you wanted to get into on this motherfucker?
I don't know what we were talking about on the phone last night. I kind of forgot.
Let's see. We were talking about the inability of most people to dress. That was a large point of contention, which I agree with. That will always be interesting to me.
How people dress.
Yeah. And how there is a large contingent of the population that will like ridicule you for dressing well and will insinuate that you're gay. Like,
okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
That.
Take me to court, please.
Take me to court.
Yeah.
What, so like when you said you started trying to dress better at 17, what was it? Where you just like, you started seeing fucking TikToks and shit and you were like, yo, I want to dress like that?
It wasn't TikToks, man. It was more so like, it's like a actually, you know what? I would take a lot of trips to Europe.
Okay.
And the Europeans, most of them dress very well.
Except for the British.
Actually, the British got some class. If you go to like Chelsea, have you ever been to Chelsea before?
I've never been to England.
Okay. Well, you should go first before you judge. But Chelsea is like the bougie area of London. That is a very classy area. But like whenever I go to Italy, if you go to like Florence, you go to Venice, you go to like the Amalfi Coast or Milan. Like Milan's the fashion capital of the world. People there dress class, like really class. And even like my cousins, like I said, they don't have money, but they still dress like old money, no brands, no logos. Just straight up class. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to try this. Yeah. So I came back to the US, did it. And the first day I wore it to school, people were like, bro, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but we had uniform in high school.
Okay.
Usually. But like on the dress out days, I would be like, all right, I'm going to show up in an old money outfit. And they're like, what the fuck are you wearing? So like definitely get a lot of lashback for it. But as time goes on, you build like a personality. And everyone's like, all right, that's Lucca. He wears this. Like, that's his style. So nowadays it's like, it's kind of like a respect thing. So that's the outcome. But
the logo thing just seems like the most obvious thing in the world to me, because it's like, why are you walking around? And this is just my ego. Like, why are you walking around promoting these people? They don't give a fuck about you. It's like the same reason I don't understand celebrity worship. It's like, you're walking around like a walking billboard for Gucci, which is ridiculous. Like, you look ridiculous.
Yeah.
Also, why are you wearing Gucci in row 37C next to me?
It's true, because and I'll say this too, like even in business, like with relationships, it is so hard to get a client. I mean, I guess it depends on the industry you're doing, but like it's hard to work with clients if you're wearing a Louis Vuitton shirt that has LV written all over it, or a Gucci shirt that says just Gucci on it. Like, that's hard for someone to swallow, to see that you're like rich to the point that you could wear a shirt like that. So, but if you dress down in a way where you kind of like meet their level in a way, because the way old money works is like you're dressing like they would, in a sense that, you know, maybe it's like Loro Piana or it's expensive stuff like that, which is not cheap at all, but like they don't know that. There's no Loro Piana logo on a Loro Piana shirt. There's no Brunello Cucinelli logo on a Brunello Cucinelli pair of pants. Like there's just none of that. So that's kind of the good part about old money is that it could be expensive, but then it's also very understated to the point where no one's going to like address you for it and be like, oh, well, you're just being flashy, you know?
I want to know why it started being called old money, because I hear that now and I just can't think of it as anything other than a meme. But I know in reality, it started a bunch of, you know, people that come from the bunch of posh people in England, you know, the people that are like upper class in other European countries. But it just seems like it's like caught on. America has this thing where they'll like latch on to like some of these European ideas and then just like fall in love with them, like F1.
Oh, yeah.
When I went to that F1 race in 2019, I told a bunch of people I went to it and they're like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, oh, I just like thought it was cool. Like I watched this season of Drive to Survive and I thought it was cool. And I went and watched it. And then now it's like this fucking like widespread thing where it's like caught on like crazy.
Second biggest sport in the world now.
Behind soccer. Yeah. That's always another funny thing.
That's crazy because it grew so much. It was never really that big.
Really?
For Formula One?
I figured it was that big in Europe the whole time.
It was big in Europe, but if we're talking US, it was big in Asia. But like the US had no idea. And the US is 350 million people. And then now, I mean, after Drive to Survive, after that 2021 season with Lewis and Max, when that came out, it blew up. And now the US is going to get 4 races.
Coda, Miami, Vegas.
Chicago.
They don't want Chicago?
Well, not this season, but they've approved it apparently.
Dude, I'd go to that. That's sick.
And New York wants one too.
Good luck.
Yeah. It said it would be around, what's the park called?
Central Park.
Central Park.
How the
fuck do you? Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Chicago's sick.
But 4 in the US is crazy.
I don't know. How many races are there total?
24.
Holy shit. Where are they pulling the races away from? Asia?
They pulled Spain, but they're building a new.
Spain had one.
They're building a new track in Spain. They're building a track in Madrid. But they took away Russia, took away Germany. Yeah, Russia's self-explanatory. Took away Germany. Took away India.
There was an Indian Grand Prix. The more you know. Nice.
Yeah, that was not good, but
Jesus Christ. Yeah. No, Formula, but American, like, oh my God, this is so European, like mass adoption in the US. Old money aesthetic in Europe, mass adoption in the US. Bro, my TikTok shop right now, because I looked at like one shirt on it, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I looked at it and I was like, there's no way that thing is made of anything that's worth a shit. But it was like old money, whatever. Now my fucking TikTok shop is like, these are the best old money linen pants. It's like, dude, they're $12. They're not real linen.
Do you buy from TikTok shop?
I've bought 3 things from the TikTok shop. I bought a plant, this really weird looking cactus that like actually looks like it might turn out. I bought, actually like yesterday, I bought this thing and it was about getting to know your parents. And it was like questions to ask your parents to like have conversations with them. Both of my parents are old. My mom's 67. My dad's 77. They're both old. And so I have a bunch of like unanswered questions about my grandparents' lives. Like my grandpa dropped out of school when he was like 13.
What?
Great Depression's a motherfucker, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So he dropped out of school, was working. My grandpa on my dad's side was like chain smoking cigarettes at 12, like same shit. Great Depression, was killing chickens as a 12-year-old as like to help his family out. And so I'm like, shit, I want to buy this because I was like looking at a bunch of the videos on it. And I was looking at the questions that they were highlighting. And I was like, those are like, that's a cool conversation to have with my parents.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So I bought that. And then I bought a Cowboy Killer Marlboro Red shirt.
Nice.
Just to wear out to like grungy dive bars. Curating the aesthetic.
Is that popular now, TikTok shop? Like, are people like, because it's so cheap, right? That's the whole point of it is like it's $2 for.
Oh, and I bought some wife beaters off TikTok shop.
For how much?
Dude, I think I bought a pack of them for like a pack of 3 for $20 by this Squid House guy. His name's Lucas Pachter. I don't know that, but I've followed him for a while. And he was like posting in these wife beaters. And I was like, those look kind of sick. Like they look like they fit well. And I've never had wife beaters that fit well. So I put them on and yeah, they're sick. They fit really, really well.
Yeah.
A girl told me I looked like a slut in them. So I took that as a compliment. I was like, yo,
that's a great compliment.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
I was wearing some 5-inch inseam shorts and a beater. And she was like, you look like a slut. And I was like, thank you.
Appreciate that.
I'm wearing this more. Okay.
Honestly, I feel like everything's a scam. nowadays on social media.
In one way or another, kind of.
I just feel like, you know how there's so many influencers out there who represent brands or represent like small brands or whatever.
Yeah.
It just feels like everything feels like a scam. They're like, use my code for this, use it. Everything just, there's so many people doing it that I don't see the importance of like, oh, I can use so-and-so's code for this. Like everyone's doing it.
Yeah, but none of the people doing it are making any money. It's just them it's just the influencers doing affiliate marketing. There's always been affiliate marketing.
Right.
I forget the webpage. There was a webpage where you could go to and it was dedicated to affiliate marketing. You could go on and it had everything in the book. You could sell gardening courses. You could sell pickup artist courses. You could sell financial courses. And it was literally these companies that would design whatever the course was, whatever the info product was. And if you could sell it, you marketed it however you wanted. You could do whatever black hat fuckery you wanted, but they would pay you a percentage of that every single time. It's just the modern iteration of that, where now it's people that are like in the influencer space, whether that's fitness, whether that's travel, whether that's points hacking, whatever you want to make it. They go on, they shill and they have a 10% off discount. They get a cut of that 10%. A couple of my friends do it for jiu-jitsu stuff. Do
you feel like the big influencers make money though?
Yeah.
Off that? Yeah.
The big ones do, but most people aren't making any money off of it. I mean, but if you have a 500,000 person fitness following, you post, hey, look, go buy Gorilla Mode pre-workout or Gorilla Nitric pre-workout.
Didn't that get banned, Gorilla Mode? Because it
Probably
had like some toxic thing in it.
I don't think so.
Or like some illegal drug. No?
I don't think so.
I'm thinking of something else. Or Tiger's Blood.
Maybe. There was an old one called Jacked, I think, that had some like fucking meth derivative.
Yeah,
in
it had some like, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that's hilarious is people are like, oh my God, this new generation is so cooked with all the pre-workout and all the caffeine they consume. It's like, dude, there are motherfuckers that are 35-year-old gym rats that when they were like your age were taking shit that is literally banned by the FDA because it was so powerful.
Yeah,
it's like
it's crazy.
I think people will be fine, but also people are cracked on caffeine.
Right.
But the people at the top are making money, but that's the way everything is. The people that are at the top are making money and everyone else is trying to look like they are.
Yeah. True that.
They sit there and they're like, oh no, like you use my code for 15% off Rise supplements. And it's like, how many motherfuckers do you see with Rise supplements in their bio? Like everyone.
Everyone's doing it.
And
that's why it feels like a scam though, because everyone's doing it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just saturation, but with saturation is opportunity. I mean, there's some way you can blow that up. I don't know how, but.
Yeah. That's interesting stuff.
Yeah. You going to put a little link in your bio for a Rise supplement or some Loro Piana shit?
I feel like I have to now.
Do you know who Shad guy is? Dude, I love his shit.
He's so funny.
I want to know what his partnership deals look like. I just want to see the business behind this. Like, I want to see how much he's getting paid because you cannot tell me Loro Piana's not throwing him a bag.
You know how much Loro Piana he owns? He owns like a shit ton of it. He does like.
According to who?
Well, he showed his closet.
Okay.
He showed like he literally has like the summer walks that I have.
Back to what you saying everything's a scam. How do you know those are his?
True. You're not wrong.
That's the point that I'm getting at is like, how do you know that Loro Piana didn't just give him their fucking summer collection and say this is your closet, go shill it for us.
Yeah. Then give it back.
Yeah, dude. I know a bunch of modeling shit. They make you give it back. And so it's like, maybe he's got a gig like that where it's like, hey, look, we'll give you this shit. Go shill it. You'll get a cut of it. Because you cannot tell me he's not moving Loro Piana.
Yeah, he goes by Constance. Is that his name?
Constance, the Shad guy. Dude, the cousin Colton alter ego is so funny to me.
Oh, it's so funny. Like the American version or whatever.
I looked him up. Apparently, he was some sort of software engineer for Apple.
Really?
He's just a normal dude. And like started making the videos apparently as like
a joke.
As ridicule, like as a joke. And then it caught on, and then fucking Loro Piana probably threw him a bag, and he was like, "Yo!" And now he just gets paid to travel, fly around, shill his wine company that he's got.
I saw he did a video with Steve Varsano from a jet business.
Yeah,
you know who that is?
Yeah.
I saw that video. That was funny. But like, if he does a partnership with them and gets like a jet to borrow, like that's what I'm saying. It's like he's probably partnered with so many big brands. Whether it's old money or whether it's like guys like the jet business, like he's doing big brand deals right now. So
there's got to be a broker. There's got to be brokers in that space where they're saying they're brokering brand deals. They have contacts with Loro Piana. They have contacts with influencers and they go, okay, how can we make this happen? How do we get paid? I want to see the numbers behind it and just see how that looks.
Yeah, I do want to see how he gets paid.
Because realistically speaking, he's probably not getting like a partnership deal with that jet business guy.
No.
Because like you're talking about views. Views do not equate to money on one hand. But also like if someone sees that video and goes and buys a jet, does he get a cut? Like, I just want to know I just want to know.
We need to know. I need to know. Constance, I need to know, man.
Constance.
Oh, it's so funny though. But like that goes back to the personal brand stuff. Like he, as a joke, it might have been as ridicule at first, but like he's built a personal brand to the point where he's now probably making big money, or he's getting big opportunities that he wouldn't have had before if he was just what was he, a software someone?
I think he was like a software engineer, like
software
Apple
engineer.
Amazon.
Yeah. So like it's a normal guy making these videos. Now he's Mr. Pop. How many followers does he have? He has.
Find out. But here's the other side of it is that he talks too well. Like he talks like he knows that world too well. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, what gives? That's my cynical.
It's kind of like one of those. It's kind of like one of those actors that like takes on a role and then like gets too far into it.
Method acting.
Yeah, exactly.
So on Instagram, he's got 872,000 followers, and that's his. I guarantee that's the small app. Mm-hmm. Also talking about my TikTok feed, that's a history video about the British Revolution or some shit, or the English Revolution.
Look at you in the war stuff.
That's all my TikTok is. It's just fucking history buff shit, chess.
What a nerd.
War. Dude, the war shit's horrifying. It's like, oh, here's a video of this guy getting killed by a drone in first person. Dude, it's I saw a video the other day of a Russian dude that was sitting there doing like the cross, watching a drone fly towards him. I'm like, this is horrifying. I saw a video this morning of a dude. It was him and three other guys got dropped off at like a forward operating post, basically Ukrainian dudes to defend.
Yeah.
And he goes, that guy right there that's laying there dead, he was kidnapped off the street 3 days ago and brought out here to die.
Oh my gosh.
That guy right there was kidnapped 4 days ago. We got dropped off here, and within 15 minutes, both of them were dead. They were kidnapped off the street. Mm-hmm. That's the shit that like drives me up a wall. Dude,
that's crazy. I saw
a video of a woman begging her husband to be brought home because he was kidnapped off the street.
Like, where
Ukraine.
In Ukraine.
It's, dude, here's the shit that drives me up a wall. People sit there and act like the Ukrainians are like dying to fight for their country. 650,000 fighting age Ukrainian men fled the country right after the war kicked off. Right after the war kicked off. Yeah. 650,000 of them. Oh, here we go. 675,000 followers on TikTok. 800 some odd on Instagram.
But so he's got a combined of what, 1.4?
Yeah. And he probably has a huge following on YouTube too, just from the shorts.
It's crazy.
But anyways, on my political rant, 650,000 Ukrainians fled the country right when the war kicked off. They are down to recruiting. They said that they might start drafting women. There are women going to the front lines to fight in Ukraine. They've upped the age, so now they're drafting 55, 60-year-old men to go fight on the front line. And they're having to kidnap people off the street to go fight. Does that sound like a people that are super happy about the position they're in, about the war that they're fighting? Meanwhile, fucking Zelensky went out and bought like a $20 million mansion in Egypt. Get fucked.
He's been asking for a lot of donations as well. He's been asking for anything he can get.
Fuck Zelensky.
I mean,
fuck that guy.
If that's really the background of it, then for sure.
It's all money laundering. The whole thing's been money laundering. That's war. Like that's the world is just fucking money laundering and war.
He bought that mansion during the war?
Yep. Huh. The Russians opened up a new front like 3-4 days ago. They went in and they're starting to try and take more land and they're calling it a buffer zone. There are Ukrainian soldiers that are on record saying we have no money for defense and we have no fortifications because the people that were in charge of deploying that money for us siphoned all of it out.
Wow.
And they took all of it and they just left us out here to die. And it's like, oh, wow, shocking. Rich fuckers in the government don't give a fuck about the poor people fighting and dying for them. Well, imagine my shock.
That's insane.
Anyways, I can fucking rant about that shit forever. Back to Shad guy, more fun topics. Yeah, dude. It's fucking dark, but yeah, Shad guy, method acting and turns around and makes a shit pot of money.
Damn right. Yeah, for sure.
Is that what you want to do? You want to get a Loro Piana deal?
I want to build if I can build a personal brand to the point where I can get a Loro Piana deal, then I'll be happy.
How old do you think a company has to be before it can start charging Loro Piana prices?
At least 10 years old.
Why?
It's a tough question, but I think it has to do with your credibility. Like, you have to build credibility over time to reach the point where you're actually charging $1,200 for a t-shirt. You know, and like quality is a thing. Like, I know Loro Piana uses like some sheepskin.
Cashmere.
Yeah, it's cashmere, but it's like a sheep cat. I don't know what it is. Something. Okay. I don't know. Some super high tech cashmere, but they've built up a brand. Like, if you look at their old prices, like they've been around since. Well, they've been around for a while. I know that. Yeah, look that up because
let's do some research.
Because they used to charge nowhere close to that.
Shit, we're running out of time. It's 6:00.
Damn.
What year was Loro Piana founded? Well, yeah, they're founded in 1924 by Pietro Loro Piana.
Mm-hmm. So back then they weren't charging the $1,000 for a shirt, but
were they charging an inflation adjusted equivalent of $1,000 a shirt?
Probably.
That's the other thing too. Is it's like, oh well, it wasn't that much. Well, yeah, but also you look at what $1 in 1924 is worth, and what $1 now is worth. Mm-hmm. And it's like it lost 97% of its value or some shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. That's the shit I always wonder. It's like, okay, so if you hypothetically said, fuck it, I want to start a Loro Piana competitor. Could you go out, if you had the capital, source it from a better source, get higher quality materials, higher quality linen, higher quality cashmere.
And price it around the same?
And price it right around the same.
It's tough. Because you need the marketing as well.
You got to brand it right.
You got to brand it right. That's the hardest part.
But how far can that brand take you? Like if you execute perfectly, how close to $1,000 for a pair of shoes can you get?
You can probably get pretty close.
On your first drop, can you get 800?
I think if you're in the right demographic area, like I don't think you could do it in the US. Personally, I don't think you could market cashmere for $1,000 in the US.
I think you can market it better in the US than you could in Europe.
I disagree with that.
Why? This I'm interested in.
Because cashmere in the US is first of all, it's way overpriced. Second of all, no one really wears cashmere in the US. There's very little men out there who wear cashmere in the US. Very little.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Which is part of why I think you could do it here. Because I think you could sell them the dream.
The thing is, it's a new market and you're going to have a new drop in a new market with a new demographic of people, whether as being an existing market and whether it's Italy or Switzerland or France or whatever that, like people wear that on the daily. Like that's like their work outfit.
I would think they would be more likely to turn against it over there because they would turn their nose up at it and go, no, I'm going to go with my Bruno Cucinelli or my Loro Piana that I know, like, and trust. Whereas over here, you could snake oil sell them.
You want like a US founded brand, like a US founded Loro Piana in a way where it's like,
I wouldn't even say it was US founded. I would say you would craft it. So you would say that it was like straight from the fucking Alpine mountains of Switzerland. And, here's a video of me shaving this sheep myself. And this is like the highest quality shit. And then sell that to Americans. Yeah.
But the question you got to ask yourself is like, why would you want a Ferrari? Because of the history, right? Like the Ferrari has history. If Ferrari was founded yesterday and you saw a Ferrari today, it's like, okay.
Richard Mille was founded yesterday.
It was.
Then again, the guy that made it was like had a history as a watchmaker.
Richard Mille had a good idea though. It was like a watch for athletes that you could wear during a match. That was never a thing with Rolex or a thing with Patek Philippe or any of that kind of stuff. That was a new idea.
Okay.
You're talking about like a Loro Piana duplicate.
Okay.
That's a bit harder to replicate.
I didn't know that about Richard Mille.
Yeah, because like the tennis, like Rafael Nadal and Djokovic, like they wear Richard Mille while they play.
Okay.
And the F1 drivers like Charles and Lando, like I know McLaren and Ferrari have sponsorships with Richard Mille. They wear it while they race.
I would think you could do that with like an AP.
But it's not like, so APs are what? Stainless steel?
And some of them are titanium. But also like an expensive AP is like 80 and a cheap Richard Mille is like $250,000.
That's true.
So
that's true. But I'm not really a fan of Richard Mille though. I like Patek Philippe as my favorite watch brand.
What's the cheapest Patek you've ever seen?
The cheapest?
Yeah.
Like you can probably get like an Aquanaut for 40 something.
Really?
Around there.
I saw a vintage Patek and I thought it was going to be cheap, kind of like how a Rolex, you can find like cheap vintage Rolexes. Like I put a bid one time on a Rolex for $4,000 and it was just like an old Datejust that I thought was sick. I was like, oh damn, that's a really sick vintage Patek. I wonder how much that is. $80,000. Never mind.
Yeah, exactly. It's way too. Yeah, the vintage Pateks go like crazy, bro. Because that's a brand with history right there. Patek has a lot of history, so their older stuff sells like same thing with Ferrari. The older Ferrari sell for The 250 GTO sells for like 80 million. Yeah. So
what's crazy? Patec's for profit. Rolex is not for profit. I did not know that.
Really?
Rolex is a not for profit organization. Yeah, which is insane to me.
Yeah. Why is that? Is it just
probably has some bullshit in terms of how they're structuring it for tax purposes? Some Swiss company where they're like, here's a little loophole we found. But
that's interesting.
Yeah. The whole clothes world is crazy. I could see you going into that world in terms of like
watches and stuff.
Just, I mean, not even as like watches, just like clothes in some capacity. Obviously, you're trying to do the modeling thing, but it's like you have a business mind very clearly. You have the mind for the clothes. I bet there are 3 people in the city of Atlanta that have ever worn an outfit comparable to that. That are not foreigners, like that are from America. And then again, you're like half from America.
Yeah.
Were you born here?
Yeah. Born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia.
But your parents were both born in Italy.
No. So my mom was born in Rome. Dad was born in Brooklyn, New York. But my dad's first language growing up was Italian because his parents were born in Sicily, and my grandparents still can't speak English.
Okay.
On my dad's side, my mom's side, they can speak English.
Do they live in Sicily though?
On my dad's side,
yeah,
they live in Brooklyn.
Okay.
But they moved down here. But they love going back to Sicily and all that kind of stuff. But most of my family lives overseas.
Lives over there. Mm-hmm. That's cool.
So
that's what I'm saying.
How about you? Wait, do you have any European backgrounds?
Technically, I'm all European, but also I'm just like a mutt. Like my dad's side, my great grandfather came over and he was British, Scottish. My mom's side is, I think, all French, but also they all came over in like the 1700s. So like they've been here, but like my grandfather's last name was Josie, which is a French last name.
Yeah.
And I did that like ancestry thing and traced it all the way back, and it's like French, but also like, I'm not about to claim French. Are you insane?
Yeah.
And Native American.
And you weren't born here, right?
I was.
Oh, you were born here.
Born and raised in Atlanta. Oh. One of the few. Much like you. There's very few people that are born and raised here.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people move down here.
Atlanta's a transplant city.
Yeah.
Like through and through. But dude, I think the clothes thing for me like makes so much sense for you.
You think?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of it. Like I love the modeling stuff, but like one of the goals I want to have is like start my own clothing company. Like that would be, yeah.
That makes sense.
Or like a watch company would be cool. That obviously requires some money. So we'll get the money in real estate first, and then we'll go into clothing. But
the watch is insane.
It's so competitive though. Think about how competitive the clothing industry is. It's a joke.
Yeah.
Way much more competitive than like real estate. Way more. Like it's not even a question how competitive it is.
And too, with that, it's like you have such a variance in terms of like the quality, in terms of the people that are actually manufacturing it, because it's like, okay, what, like at the end of the day, what really separates t-shirts? All it is just the quality of the work, the craftsmanship, and the quality of the materials.
How it fits you. Yeah.
Like everything else is for naught. Like,
right.
Who gives a fuck?
It's exactly what it is, man. So,
dude, merge the two together. Buy a plot of land with some sheep in the Swiss Alps. Then be like, this was made with these Swiss Alps sheeps. Cashmere
watch as well.
That feels difficult. I feel like cashmere might not be the best.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Best material for watchmaking.
Yeah.
What is that jacket you have on?
This is from a brand called Brokerage. It's Italian, obviously. Yeah, they're like a local family owned little boutique in Italy. It's awesome. Like I have the jacket from them, the pants from them, and yeah, that's about it.
What material is the jacket?
It's like a wool, but they sell like, here's the thing, they sell cashmere there. If you want a cashmere like blazer, it'll be like $300. Compared to the US, it'll be like $1,000 easily.
Really?
Yeah, because the cashmere in the US costs so much more. There's so many companies in the US that sell cashmere that are literally, if you want a jacket, it'll run you $1,200 easily. Even like Brunello Cucinelli in the US costs more than Brunello Cucinelli in Italy. Way more.
Even with a VAT tax in Europe. That's nuts.
Way more. Like even designers in Europe cost a lot less too. Like you want to go to Montclair, you want to go to like Burberry.
Why?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know.
Dude, I know, like, we were talking about this last night. I just got a suit and a couple of like pairs of trousers and a couple of shirts, like tailor-made. Like,
you got a tan suit, right?
Sartorial, yeah. Never had that done before. But the guy that's doing them, I was looking around and for a while, I kind of wanted to do it. I was like, all right, I want to pull the trigger on something like this. Got a guy that I know connected me with this guy that lives in Bangkok. And so like looking at his prices, like, dude, this is his most expensive package with like, I think it was 3 suits, a tuxedo, 5 shirts, and 3 pairs of trousers. Was $7,000. All from scratch, made to measure. Tailor made, bespoke, whatever. If you do that in Atlanta,
oh my gosh,
that's 30 grand.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. And I was just sitting there and I was like, oh, now I totally get it. Like, this guy takes your measurements, and then if you ever want anything made, you just get the fabric to him and he can do it.
Yeah, because they work for passion more than they work for money. That's what I've noticed in Italy, especially. Like this brand, they work for passion more than money. They'll price their stuff very fairly. In the US, they're like only for money.
Yeah, it's like how much can we mark this shit up?
Right. It's like pizza and like Papa John's. Like, come on, compared to like, you know, this. I don't even know. My family actually has a pizza restaurant in Sicily.
Okay.
And they price like literally, if you want a pie of pizza, it'll run you maybe like €1.50, €2
for a whole pizza,
for a whole pie. Yeah.
See, dude, that's why.
So there's no profit. It's profit, but it's like there's nothing. It's like maybe a quarter.
I want to move to Europe, dude. You're selling me.
I'm telling you, that's what I want to do.
Where you want to move to Italy?
I want to start in Switzerland.
The most expensive place in Europe.
It's not.
Are you insane?
Oh my God! Compared to where? Like Milan is very expensive.
Switzerland's 100% more expensive than like 90% of Europe.
Where like Zurich isn't that
Geneva,
expensive.
Zurich.
Oh yeah, Geneva, but that's a bit different. I don't think Zurich's that expensive.
I mean, outside of like London, but the cost of living in London's ridiculous.
Yeah, London's horrible.
I know a girl that was in London was in Manchester and in London, and she was like telling me about what their wages were and shit, and she was like, it was insane.
Wait, she was in Manchester or London?
Both. It wasn't making shit.
Oh, Manchester's ugly. I'm not a fan of it.
Wasn't making shit.
Yeah.
She like worked for Man United.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
On their like digital marketing side. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But that whole thing over there is just insane to me. How like their wages are so suppressed, but their cost of living is still sky high. I'm like, it just does not compute with me how people live there.
Yeah. And actually college matters more, or it matters a lot more in Europe than it does in the US.
The university you went to?
No, like just college in general. Like I have friends in Greece, I have friends in Italy and Spain and wherever who always say like nobody drops out of college in Europe. Yeah. I mean, people do, but like it is the popular route to stay in college. I mean, in the US, I mean, of course it's the same thing, but like the access to college and overseas is like guaranteed. Like you are only working for college and you do 5 years in Italy. It's 5 years of high school.
Dude, what was crazy to me, I know these Dutch people and they were telling me about the process for college over there. Mm-hmm. You take a test when you're 12 and that test tells you if you get 4, 5, or 6 years of high school. And then if you get 4, you're like a tradesman. If you get 5, you can go to like the equivalent of like a lower level state university, like a state college. Mm-hmm. And if you get 6, you can go to like the creme de la creme. I can't fucking speak of universities over there. And I was like, but they all get free college. And I was like, you bring that over here. Some motherfucker fails a test when they're 12 and gets sent to technical school. Yeah. Someone's going to want to have a change of mind real quick on if they want.
There's no future there.
Yeah. Someone's going to have a change of pace real quick on what they want in terms of the education system here. But
it's crazy.
I did not realize that they get 5 years of high school in Italy. Mm-hmm. So you start at what, 13? Or do you finish at 19?
No, you start at 4. You start at normal age, but you do an extra year. And your extra year is only for college.
Really?
So like college really only cares about the extra year.
Really? Mm-hmm. So you take the last year is what the colleges will look at? Mm-hmm. So what the fuck's the point of the first 4?
Don't ask me.
You're the Italian.
I dropped out of school.
Well, fake Italian, fake Catholic. This is horrific.
Everything's fake, man. It's crazy.
There's a Tyga song. I think it's like fake, fake, fake. Everything fake.
You should play it right now.
Welcome to 2024.
Oh, gosh.
Well, oh, no. It's called Rep. It's by El Alfa, I think.
Who?
El Alfa. He's a Dominican rapper.
You want some more?
No, I'm set, dude.
You good?
El Alfa's the man. I love that guy. I have no service down here.
Look at that. We finished Pellegrino.
We finished the bottle of San Pelli.
Yeah.
This was a productive bottle of San Pelli. The bubbles, do they scare you?
Never. It's great.
Motherfucker's scared of bubbles, dude. But,
so an Andrew Tate thing where it's like, if you're around your friends, give them all a glass of sparkling water. Whoever says they don't like the bubbles, kick them out.
It's a solid vetting mechanism.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It's got to be. Especially in the Italian world, bro.
Is that like what everyone drinks in Italy? Is sparkling water?
Oh, yeah. It's called acqua frizzante. And basically you realize like why it's good, right? Sparkling water, like when you eat a meal, because it cleanses your palate after every bite. So every bite feels like exactly like the first bite.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So you take a bite of like a pasta, like a nice pasta in Italy, you take a sip of sparkling water, it cleanses your palate. So the second bite is the same feeling as the first bite.
Is that science or did you make that up?
No, I swear. Ask any Italian.
I don't know if you made that up or
Look it up.
I think you made that up.
No, I did not make it up.
That makes sense. I wonder why sparkling? Why is it the bubbles?
It's great. It's wonderful.
Sparkling water. All right. Well, that has been 2 hours.
Yeah.
So
all right, man.
We got to get the fuck out of here.
Let's do it.
Thank you for this.
Yes, sir.
Talked a bunch of shit.
That's fun.
And you're officially the youngest person on this podcast. That will hopefully hold true because I have no reason to interview anyone that is younger than 19.
It's an honor.